in today.
Thank you for having me.
Did you have any trouble finding my office? This building's very confusing. I get lost sometimes myself.
No, I found it okay. Thank you, though.
Wonderful. Make yourself comfortable. We have some water in the mini fridge. If you need anything, let me know. So could you tell me why you came in here to see me today?
Well, I'm actually here for my son, Jacob.
Oh, you're in for your son. Okay. Could you tell me why that is?
Well, he had an annual checkup with his pediatrician last month, and he was only 8 years old, but according to his doctor, his weight puts him at the category of obese.
Oh, okay.
I always knew his weight was a little bit of a concern, but I didn't realize the health effects, and it makes me nervous. I just want my son to live a healthier life. That's why I was referred to you.
Wonderful. Well, that's great you came in to see me. You sound like a great, dedicated mother. I'm sure your son really appreciates it. You should note that 1 in 5 of every United States child is overweight or obese, so your son is certainly not alone in this.
Wow, yeah, I didn't realize some of his friends are also the same weight. Just never really considered.
There are some bad health implications. Could you recall any of those for me?
I believe he said something about high cholesterol and diabetes, things like that.
Yes, Rachel, that's right. It can cause much more than just that, though. It could quickly cause sleep apnea. It could cause asthma, high blood pressure, among other things. But what, as nutritionists, we are most concerned about are the health implications for later in life. 50% of all obese adolescents remain obese into their adulthood. And when they're obese adults, they're at very high risk of things like high blood pressure, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, some cancers, low quality of life and self-esteem issues, and also cardiovascular disease, which is the #1 killer of U.S. adults. So it's great you came in to see me. If we can make Jacob healthier now, we can make him healthier into the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's my hope. I just want my son to live a healthy, long life, and I just don't really know where to start.
Well, great for you. So you feel ready to make the changes to your son's diet, is that correct?
Yes, I'm really willing to do what I can and what was within my means.
Okay. So Rachel, I'm going to try to ask you a few questions related to what your son eats so I can get a better idea of what his habits are. Could you recall for me, say, what he would typically eat in a school day?
Yeah, sure. Well, he wakes up early with me.
Okay.
He doesn't really have a big breakfast because he's not usually that hungry. Maybe some dry cereal like Corn Flakes, Frosted Flakes, Cocoa Puffs, Fruit Loops, cereals like that. Okay. We live in a crowded neighborhood, so there's not many supermarkets around. I usually give him some money to buy some snacks. He usually goes to 7-Eleven on his way to school.
Okay.
He usually buys a bag of chips or a candy bar, brings it to school for a snack.
Okay.
At school, he eats a lunch probably of pizza, mozzarella sticks, or spaghetti and meatballs. He usually has a juice box, soda, and a cookie with that.
Okay.
I'm single and work 2 jobs, so after school I send him to the YMCA where he usually buys another snack and a soda on the way. Once I pick him up, it's late and I'm exhausted, so I can't really cook dinner.
Okay.
So it's usually to Wendy's or McDonald's, which is down the street. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Okay, great. So there's a lot of fast food and really not that much fresh, sort of healthy food. Have you thought about that at all?
I have. I know that he doesn't really eat a healthy diet, but what I give him is cheap and easy to make. I'm not really sure how to change that. I'm very limited on time and finances, so I don't really know how to work that into his diet.
Okay, yeah, we actually see that a lot. You live in Jamaica Plain, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so that's a really tough area to be in to be healthy. Jamaica Plain is what nutritionists like to call a food desert, which means there is a lot of access to foods in, say, fast foods, convenience stores, foods that are high in calories, fat, sugar, sodium, all sorts of bad nutrients, and very low in fresh, healthy fruits and vegetables that you could say access at a supermarket. There aren't many supermarkets in food deserts. On top of that, there aren't that many places for children to be active because it's a crowded neighborhood. So that means that you have people who are eating unhealthy and also living a very inactive lifestyle. Have you heard of this phenomenon before?
I haven't, but it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. It is surprisingly common. So you're looking to make a change in the way Jacob eats. Ideally, to you, what would be the results of that change?
Well, I really want him to lose weight, but I just want him to live an all-around healthier life. I know the food that he is getting is probably junk for his body, and I just want him to be healthy.
Right, okay. So, how can I help you help Jacob change the way that he eats?
I honestly don't know much about what a healthy diet consists of or how I can afford a healthier meal for my son.
Okay. And actually, we get that a lot with women living in food deserts because they haven't really been exposed to what a healthy diet looks like. So I'm going to show you this image. This comes from the United States Department of Agriculture. It's called My Plate. And it depicts what a typical healthy meal should look like for a child in the United States. And as you can see, half of the plate consists of fruits and vegetables, slightly more vegetables than fruits, and then the other half is grains and proteins, slightly more grains. So grains being things like pasta, rice, bread, protein ideally being a lean sort of meat, and then the drink would be some sort of dairy product, ideally low fat. So what do you think when you look at this image?
It doesn't look like anything he's eating right now.
Okay, yeah, so that's very typical. Can we maybe say that we'll try to slowly make changes in the time that we are seeing each other so that eventually in the long term Jacob can be eating meals that look like the My Plate?
I think that's very reasonable.
Okay. So how about we start small and try to work our way up to this eventually. This can be our end goal. Changes the process. It's not going to come immediately, so we have to start with some short-term goals. It sounds like you're very busy and hardworking. There's nothing wrong with budgeting. This is a very common problem among moms in food deserts. So in the short term, what are some sort of changes you'd like to make?
Well, I know he needs to eat more fruits and vegetables, and I know soda's really bad for him, which he's getting a lot of. I read an article about portion size at McDonald's, and they're a lot bigger than they should be.
Okay.
I was thinking I would try to cut down his soda intake and maybe buy less McDonald's. Maybe send him to school with a piece of fruit rather than a bag of chips once in a while. I don't know much more than that, though.
Okay, those are really great places to start, Rachel. It sounds like you've thought a lot about this, and you're ready to start and try to make a change in the way that not just your son, but you eat as well. So let's try to set some short-term goals that will end in our long-term goal of eating meals that look like the My Plate. How about we start with soda? Could you think of anything off the top of your head that will help Jacob cut down his soda intake?
Maybe I could not give him some money to buy soda before and after school.
Okay, that's a great place to start. So maybe give him less soda on his way to school and to the YMCA, and in replacement of that, you could buy a refillable water bottle, which will actually save you money because you won't be spending money on soda. Jacob can refill his water bottle at any water fountain or tap resource. On top of that, the My Plate calls for a dairy intake, so maybe you could try to give him a glass of milk before or after, or when he wakes up or when he goes to sleep at night, so that he can be getting his calcium and his vitamin D without drinking the unnecessary ingredients of soda.
I can definitely do that.
Okay, awesome. So we have one goal down. How about fruits and vegetables?
I suppose I can stock up on more things that he doesn't hate at the grocery store.
Okay, so what doesn't he hate, Paul?
Well, he doesn't hate apples, bananas, pears, baby carrots, and some stuff like that.
Okay, so those actually aren't too hard to access in an area like a food desert. You could probably get some apples, bananas, pears, and baby carrots at like a convenience store, and maybe try to send him to school with a piece of fruit or vegetable rather than allow him to buy a bag of chips on the way to school. You could start some sort of reward system so that he'll actually eat it.
Let's try that. What sort of reward system?
I usually recommend to my clients a star chart. So every time Jacob eats a fruit or a vegetable, he has to prove to you that he ate it, because children often tend to lie about when they're out of the house what they're eating. So if he brings home a scrap or an empty wrapper, he gets a star. And For every star, we'll say 10 stars is $1, and then at the end of the month, you can pull together his stars into dollars, and he gets to buy himself some sort of special treat. Does that sound like something within your means?
Absolutely, that sounds like a great idea.
Okay, great. So we have 2 goals down. So now in terms of fast food, you're very right. McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, pizza joints, they have foods that are very high in fat, in calories, and sugar and sodium, all sorts of bad nutrients, in really big portion sizes with very little nutritional benefit. So it sounds like you know that and you're ready to maybe cut down on it a little bit. What can you start doing to try to improve that?
I'll just have to start cooking a bit more at night, I think.
Okay, so we'll say that maybe you can start out by cutting down fast food once or twice a week and cooking more at home. Try to make it look as much as like the My Plate as you can, fruits, vegetables, protein, grains, and a glass of milk. Start small, see what you can do. And if you do end up at a fast food restaurant, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you can do some things to cut down on the poor calories, such as making the portion size smaller, giving Jacob either small or a kid's meal. You could ask for a water rather than soda, and you can maybe cut out a side order like fries or onion rings. Does that sound achievable, like something that you two can do together?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I think we can definitely do that.
Awesome. Okay. Wonderful. So we have some short-term goals to start with. Are you intending to act upon these changes in the near future?
Hopefully as soon as I can.
Okay, so as soon as you can, let's take that a step further and try to choose a reasonable date. Is there anything in particular you can think of off the top of your head?
Well, it's tough right now around the holidays and school vacation. How about once Jacob returns to school after the break?
That's perfect. Timely and reasonable. It'll give you and Jacob time to prepare for the change, because change doesn't just come. You have to be in the mindset to change. So that being said, is there anything else you'd like to discuss while you're here?
I think this is a great start.
Okay, awesome. In review, just to make sure you really got it down, do you think you could sum up for me what our short-term goals are and what our long-term goal is?
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is eat more meals at home, make it look like the My Plate, drink more water and milk instead of soda, and eat more fruits and vegetables rather than chips and junk food.
Awesome. Nailed it. Rachel, thank you so much for coming in to see me today. In order to make this, more successful, would you like to make another appointment with me in the near future so that we can see how things are going?
I would love to set up another appointment with you.
Okay. How about maybe a week into the start of your change? That usually tends to be like the toughest time. We can try to see how things are going, and if we need to make any adjustments, we can do so.
Sounds like a great plan.
Okay, great. I'll call you later this week and set up an appointment. Remember that Jacob needs your help in this. He can't do it alone. Change has to start in the household, and that comes from you, and I'm sure you get that. You're here now. So thank you so much for coming in to see me. Have a good afternoon and a great holiday.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
You!
Soldier boy tough.